It's another day for exploring the real estate sector in these parts, and today I'm exploring resort real estate. Welcome to Real Transformers. I've seen quite a bit on my journeys how developers such as my friends at Tributet are transforming the real estate sector, from land to building new inroads to residential developments and even marketing and sales, as they have done with their humongously successful BRG brokerage firm in Africa. In one of my conversations with Dr. Tony, president of BRG and CEO of Tributet, he mentioned to me how amazing the resort business is and how that Tributet is gearing up to venture into resort real estate. That's all it took. My interest was piqued. I'd like to know how the resort side of real estate actually works, and where better to learn than where it all did start. Rewind to 1984 and you arrive at the very beginnings of what is now the first African-themed resort in these parts, when a young man who had been dreaming this whole amazeballs up since he was 25 finally got to work. He was 29 at the time and would sit in this camp, now known as Founders Camp, in a thick forest, dreaming up and birthing what is today a globally renowned resort.
Welcome, Otumba, and thank you for joining us on Real Transformers. You have been phenomenal as a transformer of real estate for the purpose of tourism and hospitality, and you started this way back in 1984. I don't know if there were any such things in this parts at the time, but you had a vision to create something phenomenal, something you could export from Africa. What were you thinking at the time?
When I came back from the US, my major focus is I want to do my part. And I remember the first place they took me to at that time. And I think when I got a realtor to help me out, I'm looking for an exclusive land far away from the city. He took me to Lekki Phase 1. Because that was just as far as they can think. And I said to him, sorry, this is too close to town. He almost dropped dead. He looked at me as, is this man crazy? Okay. Is this man really correct? He said, well, you can go further down past Morocco into the bush if you want. I said, the area you call Morocco, I've been there, is too close to town. I want somewhere so far away where there's no road, where it'll take quite some time for civilization to catch up with it. I'm looking for something totally far away. And then he looked at me like, okay, you don't need a realtor. You need a psychologist, or you need somebody to help you mentally. So you can understand that. So at that time, really, if you come to think about it, I have absolutely no clue what was driving me. And I was just busy trying to do what I wanted to build the first authentic African-themed cosmopolitan resort. That is first of its kind. And you can't copy and paste from anywhere, but then you can't franchise it, because the concept of it was create an authentic African-themed resort, franchise it throughout the world. Because Marriott, Sheraton, Hilton, these are individuals. These are people that also probably in those days went into the bush or went by a train station, in the case of Marriott, and realized that people don't have accommodation there, and built a house and started accommodation for them, for people that are catching trains, going from point A to point B. And from there, I decided that let me transform this to a hotel. And then he has today 3,900 plus branches throughout the world. We don't have any African franchise like that. And we're 1.2 billion people of African descent living in the continent. And we have about 1.2 or 1.1 billion in diaspora. So we have a humongous market compared to a Dubai with only 70 kilometers of area on the beach, with only maybe about 3.5 million people. But we have a lot of our people. We have people that are curious about Africa, that we can showcase the best of our continent. And when they come to Africa, really, if you think about it, they've come to see African real estate. If you fly over Japan, you see Japanese real estate. Over China, you see from the skies. So nobody travels. Travel is an experience. Nobody travels to see a cheap imitation of their own home, of what they have. So I think that was what pushed me at that time.
And you have transformed 65
acres, yes.
Here into, I've been around earlier today and I was like, wow. I was here, by the way, about 14 years ago.
14
years ago. Yes, wow. I was here.
Okay, I don't know what you saw then. It's totally different.
Totally different. Absolutely. I was like, wow. Every corner has changed. Everything has, and it's the thought actually that wows me the most, you know. And then I got even more dumbfounded when I heard that there was no architectural design. You just come with this idea every other day and draw it on the ground. Like, yeah. Guys, this is the next thing we're doing. Tell me about that.
What you see here is an expression of me, of who I am and how I think, and the ideology I stand for. My major focus is that we must do something that is original. We can't come out there and do something that looks like Hilton or Sheraton or the Maldives. We've got to do something that looks like us, that represent who we stand for. And it has to be created originally. And a lot of people, what I find extremely funny, because if you're a dreamer and you go to a particular environment and you're about to transform, and they ask you what you're trying to build, you have no clue.
You don't know how to express it.
And you don't want to tell them, I don't know. So they will probably think you are confused. So you just go ahead and do what you are doing. I remember when I said to them that, I want to build the first mud house. Because our forefathers lived in a mud house. We drink water from the mud house. From the mud pot, sorry. And we believe very strongly that the mud house is a lot cooler. It's authentic. It's natural. No chemicals and the heat, and it's cooler. So I said, okay, why did we jettison that? Why have we not transformed and cosmopolitized it and modernized it the way the Japanese had modernized their own structures, their own way of living yesterday till today? And I said I wanted to build a mud house. They all looked at me. I thought you were thinking of a 5-star resort. I said, yes, 5-star African resort. And it has to be defined by us. Africans, we have to define it in a particular manner that anybody that comes in will look at the mud on the outside and they will come in and they will marvel and say, wow.
And that's exactly what you've done.
So they said, you're the boss. Go ahead. Show us what to do. So we rolled up our sleeves and we started. We finished the first one, we finished the interior, and oh my God. People come in there. I have friends that come in here and say, my boss, please demolish it. This is all I need in the village. So after that, I said, okay, we're going to build the first mud house in the world with an indoor pool. Indoor pool. You're sitting in one.
I'm sitting in one.
And they said, a mud house with an indoor pool. Okay, let's go. Here we are. And if you Google today, the first mud house in the world with an indoor pool, La Campagne Tropicana Beach Resort. That is what we need to be proud of. These are the things we need to be doing to show the world that we don't carry last. We know what we are doing. So we are together. you get it. That you have to watch out for us.
And this, in fact, is the only, and I Googled this, only authentic African themed resort in the world.
In the world, yes. It's the first and the only African themed resort
in the world.
Google is still there.
Yeah, I did it. I saw
you did it.
I'm like, wow.
So you know what that has given us Africans? Power. Power. The only time you have absolute advantage is when you take advantage of your advantage. That's when people cannot copy you. They cannot do it better than you.
Introducing Ambience Foreshore, an astonishing waterfront estate for those who cherish luxury living, privacy, and tranquility. This incredible masterpiece comprises of 300 square meters, 500 square meters, and lakeview plots overlooking the Lagos Lagoon and Omo Creek with a boat ramp for navigating waterways, whether for recreation or transportation. Ambience Foreshore provides breathtaking opportunities for snorkeling. Safeguarded from flooding by international standard shoreline protection, the estate has many amazing features that make it perfect for families. Recreation centers for everyone, 24/7 security with full CCTV surveillance, 24/7 electricity, shopping centers, perfect for beautiful coastal retreat with close proximity to Neville Mall, Thesaurus Bay Jetty, Pelican Resort, and Omo Creek. You and your family get the best of both worlds, the allure of nature and the vibes of the city. With an initial deposit of 5 million naira, you can own a piece of Ambience Foreshore today. Buy any one of our 300 square meters, 500 square meters, and lakeview plots today and experience the splendors of waterfront living. To take advantage of this limited time offer, call now.
Welcome to La Campagne Tropicana. This place is so magical, and I mean that in every sense of the word. It is truly African and uniquely cosmopolitan. A magnificent African village with all its pristine trappings, livestock roaming around, birds chirping above, silent streams, nature in all of its splendors. La Campagne Tropicana might be a wonder, but Otumba Akimboboye has replicated this wonder in other parts of Africa. Grand Bassam, Côte d'Ivoire, Walita Sodo in Ethiopia, Cotton Cafe in Kogi State, Nigeria, and the list goes on. I couldn't help but marvel at the vision of the 25-year-old Akimboboye. He could have chosen to be anything more fancy, a young man in his prime, but he saw much more than just forest and nothing. He saw the future of African tourism and culture export.
If you do an authentic African theme like this, how are they going to compete with my talking drum as my doorbell?
That's your doorbell.
Where are they going to begin from? Where are they going to get it from? Let's say they get it. Would they know how to hang it? You know, just go on and on and on. Where are they going to get my Ankara from? Where are they going to get my mat? Where are they going to get my palm wine? We built the longest pool in the world with a palm wine bar. You know, I decided to put palm wine bar there. It's a trick. Because as I say, I have the longest pool in the world. Some folks in Canada might decide, I'm going to build a longer one, double one. I said, no problem. If you build a longer one, no problem, you can. Do you have a palm wine bar? If you don't have a palm wine bar, you are not part of my competition.
No,
if you want to have a palm wine bar, you have to fly to Nigeria on a daily basis.
And get your drum of wine.
Get your drum of palm wine. And that is what you do. If you're the only one consuming your culture, you can't prosper well. There must be a concerted effort to get other people to consume your culture. That is what the British people have done to us. We're constantly consuming their culture, and they are sitting back pretty and doing well. The Americans have done the same to the continent of Africa. So unless you produce something out of your culture, that we speak English today, we wear suits, we wear jackets, we wear shirts, we're consuming other people's cultures. But the world is still a trade by barter environment. So as we are consuming their culture, we must make sure they consume our culture. But they're not going to create our culture for us. They're not going to redefine our culture for us. We have got to define our culture and how we want them to partake in our culture. So when I go out there and I buy a suit, I expect that European, I can market the resort to him. He can come here and give me back that money by staying in the resort and enjoying himself. So, but you have to produce that. It's still trade by barter. The only thing in between is the naira, is the dollar, is the pounds, is the cash. It is only what you produce that you sell to get what you need. So if we keep crying, rubbing tears on one another, mourning, talking about slave trade, talking about marginalization, and we're not doing anything ourselves, creating something that is going to give us an advantage. If we don't create a platform for them to patronize us, they will not. They're not going to be patronizing your anger. They won't patronize your anger. They're not going to be patronizing your claims, anger that you enslaved us, you didn't do this for us. The only thing they can patronize is what we create. And we need to take it to them and get them to patronize it. And that is what can give you prosperity.
I like the fact that you're talking about prosperity. You wear plenty hats. Advisor, African Union, Economic and Culture and Social Council. So many hats, but we could go all day talking about all the wonderful things and impact you have made. Let's talk about the business of tourism and hospitality.
I'll tell you precisely what has happened to the lives of a lot of people in this environment. All our combas you see, combing the beach and all that, they've built 2-3 houses. You know, when you create something and weave it around the culture of the host community, it means they can participate, they can partake in it. It's their culture. They know how to do this. They know how to be part of that Africanness that is weaved around their culture. So they're not paying for transport to go to Lagos to look for work. They're not paying for food. You see some women, they will rush home, knew that, they say, during their break, 30 minutes to eat, 30 minutes to breastfeed their children, and they come back to work. You see some men, their wives will bring their food to them. You know what I mean? They close by 7, 7:15, 7:30, they're at home, they are fresh, their productivity is high. The problem you have in Lagos is that 90% of Lagos workers are zombies. Because if a guy sleeps at 12 midnight because of traffic, and he wakes up at 4 a.m., and gets to work by 8, and then he has to go back to work the next morning. He will get home by 12 midnight because of traffic. He has to wake up by 4 a.m. again. He has not gotten enough rest. So his productivity level is extremely low. His tolerance level, very low. So what we are doing is our capacity utilization is extremely low. So our productivity is low based on the fact that we overwork our people, not at the working place, but on the roads, the traffic. So what you find, they started building their houses, other businesses, and what you find in building in an environment like this, folks that will come here, like you now, I'm sure you're thinking about, what business can I do around here now? How do I get a house around here? I'm sure I know you. I can see that expression on your face. You're already planning. You're going So these are the things that you find. Then in South Africa, about 68% of new businesses in South Africa between the World Cup and now started after the World Cup. People that went to South Africa to watch the World Cup, and that's sports tourism. When they got there, they saw opportunities, and then that expanded real estate. People bought houses. When you start a business, you need to have real estate. You need to have an office. So real estate is the beginning of everything. So what you find in this environment is that this environment now has created opportunities for people in the village, staff that are here, guests that come to visit. And then what you find is that new businesses will start springing up and in the majority of the new businesses and all the real estate that is springing up here is from coming to the resort. Because if you don't have reason to go into a bush, you won't go.
Sure.
But when you go, you don't go with your eyes closed. That is why we need to go to all the 774 local governments and weave something around and create infrastructure. When people get to those local governments, get to that particular destination, things will happen. You don't need to tell them. I have a guy that came from the US here, and I asked him when he was leaving, I said, what was your best experience? He said, I love this soup. It's so hot. I love hot food. It's beautiful. I love the way they greet here, that I have never been so respected in my life. I feel like a king. But all of this is wonderful. He said, but what really blew my mind are those lizards that are doing push-ups. And for me, I really never looked at
Lizards like that.
Like that. Then I thought about it. They are constantly doing like this. So he said they are doing push-ups. The guy has started a lizard factory now, making lizard shoes.
No way.
Yes, sir. So that is what must happen. That's what we must do as a people. We must understand that we need to go and open up new areas. Lagos have 200 kilometers of beachfront here. 200 kilometers. It's actually about 198 kilometers, but we round it up to 200 kilometers. We need to not cluster ourselves in Aja, cluster ourselves in,
Lekki and Victoria Island, the rest of it.
And Ikoyi. I was born in Ikoyi, VI, and it's been there for over 65 years. Done by the colonial masters. Ikoyi Club was built for you in 1938, remember? In the 40s. Keja Country Club, Yoruba Tennis Club, all in the 40s. So we have to go and open up new areas and redefine ourselves and create the Nigeria we want.
Thank you very much, Otumba.
You're welcome.
You are the real transformers, and I'm honored
You're welcome.
to be sitting and having this conversation with you. Thank you.
Otumba Akimboboye wears many caps in culture and tourism all over the world. We had a robust conversation about how we can reap real value by embracing and exporting our culture. You can watch the full conversation online. Lakapan Tropicana is an African dream. The traditional way of greeting, the talking drums at the door, numerous accommodation classes from less than 100,000 naira to ₦1 million naira, restaurants, pure Afropolitan entertainment, a magnificent beach. A true testament of the magic that happens when value is added to real estate. shall I add that people have come from all over the world to see Africa right here in what was to almost everyone else 38 years ago the end of nowhere. As the day wound down, I sat by the beach and watched the sunset. Of course, with a soothing calabash of fresh palm wine. So, here's what I'm taking away today. There's no such thing as remote area when it comes to real estate. It's all down to how much value you can add to it. We need to explore more of our country, open new real estate frontiers, whether for residential or commercial purposes. And an investment in resort real estate might be a long-term one, but it pays huge in time. Overall, originality is king. So, like Otumba Akimboboye says, take advantage of your advantage. That's the key to true and enduring prosperity. I'll be back next week as I continue my exploration of the real estate sector. My name is Laniyi Stevens. See you then.